hard to believe we've now entered the fourth quarter of the year. And as we begin to close the chapter on 2011, many are wondering whether it's time to look to a new job in the new year. So what sectors are looking strong in 2012 and what industries are set to have some challenges? Well, joining us with all of the answers this evening is Toby Simpson, the Managing Director of the Gulf Recruitment Group. Toby, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So tell me, what kind of movements did we see on the CEO level this year and how will it filter down to the rest of us?
Absolutely. I think specifically on CEOs, we definitely have seen a better year than last year, but I've got to say it's not gangbusters. It's not 2007 by all means. We've seen a little bit of increase in investor confidence, a tiny increase in investor confidence and general business confidence. We've seen the banks lending again, which is important for expansion capital. But we really haven't seen the investors coming back to the market, funding the private equity funds that fund the new business, that start up the new companies that create the CEO vacancies. I've got to say that regionally, Dubai has bucked the trend though. I think the great thing that we've seen here over the last 2 years is Dubai has really consolidated its position as a services hub. And that's important. So it's not necessarily important what's going on here in the local economy, but what's happening regionally, all the way from Morocco as far as Afghanistan and down to Oman. They come to the UAE as a service sector.
Now, looking at the global economy, we've had a bit of a roller coaster ride this year. Obviously, Eurozone and US debt crisis shaping up markets. We have seen a strong oil price, though, which is good news for this part of the world. So how are these global effects affecting our local recruitment industry?
Absolutely, it has been a roller coaster. And to be honest, I'm surprised we haven't seen more effects earlier. Business is still relatively good here and growing at a slow pace. The fact the oil price held up has been fantastic. It's boosted the coffers of GCC governments, and other effects around the world. The Arab Spring has actually had a notably positive effect on Dubai itself. A lot of capital is treated Dubai as a flight to safety. People have sent their money here. The banks are therefore being able to lend that money out and stimulate growth in the economy, which is great for Dubai.
Good news for us. So going forward, looking for 2012, who are going to be the real shakers and movers of next year? Who's perhaps up for a pay rise and who perhaps there's a few little more challenges ahead?
Big question. Look at my crystal ball. I'll in a year's time, I'll look back and probably rue my words. But I think there's some obvious growth stories. There's some very good ones, for example, in the healthcare sector and in the insurance sector. But for me, the really big news is actually the amount of infrastructure spending and public capital spending around the region. That has a fantastic effect for the region, but it also has a great effect in Dubai. So it's not just the construction industry that benefits from the hundreds of billions that are being spent, but that capital flows through to the service sectors, notably the service sectors here in Dubai itself. It's also any company with an outward face. So the companies here that are looking at business that's going on in Saudi, looking at business that's going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. I think public perceptions of Iraq are really changing in terms of the security situation there. Jeremy Clarkson, a BBC presenter who does Top Gear in the UK, recently visited northern Iraq and claimed that northern Iraq was about as frightening as Cheltenham. Now, there's a lot of people who probably don't know who Cheltenham is, but it's a particularly unfrightening town in the UK. And I think there's going to be a lot of, not broken families, but there's going to be a lot of people who will spend time in the likes of Iraq, rebuilding the banking sector, rebuilding the infrastructure sector, rebuilding the retail sector. And, but long and short, the companies will be based here in Dubai.
So the chimes, they are a-changing. Well,
Absolutely.
Toby, thank you for joining us today. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
So